Hello, friends, and welcome to Rise Up in Real Estate, where we are on a quest. We are looking for the extra in the ordinary. And I'm Tad Fulford, and I will be your host on this journey where we will take an honest look at what makes ordinary people extraordinary. Exactly how can we be extra in our personal and our professional lives? In this season of the Rise Up in Real Estate adventure, there will be a monthly rhythm, meaning each month we will have 4 unique episodes. In one episode, we'll tackle a pressing current real estate industry thought. In another, we will chat with a local difference maker in the real estate space. For our 3rd episode, we will host a respected national thought leader. And finally, we will have a 4th bonus and surprise episode. And in each episode, we will be digging into not only what those people think, but who those people are. Along the way, it's my hope that you'll laugh some, you'll be challenged some, you will get inspired some, and if we are lucky, maybe even figure out a way or two you can rise up in your own life and be the best human that you can be. So the challenge is, let's all rise up. So Rise Up Nation, welcome back. I'm excited to have you here today because you are in for a real treat. You know, we talk about having good humans on this show, and today you absolutely have the opportunity to meet a good human that's not in our marketplace. She is in a different place, but I've had the interactions with Kelli on a few occasions and are getting to know her, and I just know she's going to be a special person in your circle of influence and mine going forward. So let me introduce to you Kelli Salter. Kelli, hi. Welcome to Rise Up in Real Estate.
Hello, Ted. Thank you so much for having us.
I'm so happy, so happy to have you here. And you've probably listened to Rise Up. The main purpose of this is just to let people know you. I'm hoping that you can connect with a few people in our circle, and that we can connect with you, and you'll have some friends. Like our good friend Sammy was on here a few weeks ago, and I think Sammy got 15 new Facebook friends out of it, which is incredible. So that's what we're looking for. And I appreciate you being open to it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And send all the Facebook requests. I need all the friends, and I love the beach. So y'all send me your best recommendations for all the things down in your area.
Do you get to come to the beach very often? Do you come down here or do you go to the other beach?
No, we come down a lot.
Down to Myrtle Beach?
We do come to Myrtle Beach a lot.
Okay. Well, next time you come, we'll have to get together and do something. That'd be fun.
That's right. So we grew up at Gulf Shores. So
okay.
That's Myrtle Beach is a lot like Gulf Shores for us. So we're very drawn to the area.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about you, Kelli. Like, where were you born? I'm very interested to hear that. And tell me your pre-real estate story, if you can.
Oh gosh. Okay. So I grew up in Mobile, Alabama. I am an only child, so that probably tells people a lot about me, but also about my my leadership style, the way that I approached life, all of those sorts of things. Went to college in Mobile, so I have a degree from the University of Mobile and a graduate degree from the University of South Alabama. Stayed very, very close to home, and then I fell in love with a Marine.
There you
and
go.
The rest is history. So my husband and I went to high school together. We were not high school sweethearts. That's a misnomer that people like to put together, but we never dated in high school. He had moved on to Maryland. It was his first duty station. I stayed back, went to school, and we reconnected, did long distance for a long time. And then much to my parents' sadness, he took me to Maryland, and being a very, very young military spouse. So we got married. I was 22 when we got married. Being a very young military spouse was difficult in trying to find work. I had always worked, and trying to sort of figure out what was I going to be when I grew up. And all of a sudden, here I was in a big city and with no contacts whatsoever. What was I going to do? So ironically enough, I started with a temp agency, and they hooked me up with this company. And I eventually worked my way through the company from reading contracts and data entry to actually working as the executive administrative assistant to the CEO.
Oh, wow.
And after a few years, we took a couple subsidiaries public. And so I've done crazy startup life, crazy startup corporate life. It's why I love it. I love everything about it. I love the craziness of it. I love the chaos. I love the disarray. I love the fast pace of it. I love every bit of it. It is, if it is running smoothly, it is not doing what I want it to do. So and that's where the love of the indie brokerage comes in, of building it all.
Yeah.
So I learned so much in the corporate space, in creating companies, going public, what was required, what was needed, sales, marketing, all of these things. And so what actually happened was I was still working for that company in Maryland, and we were living in North Carolina. My husband had been stationed in North Carolina, and I was working remote. And our son was 1. And my husband said we were in a really, really good financial position to be 26 years old. And we agreed it's probably time for us to come home, and time to hang up the travel bag and come home. And I got into real estate. And that is how my real estate journey started. And I have been in the real estate space for about the last 7 years.
7 years. Okay. A couple of questions as you talk. I know my listeners have already started. They've already asked themselves, how cool is that accent? That is Alabama all through and through, isn't it? I feel like I'm at home. I'm from Dothan, Alabama. So I feel like I'm almost at home listening to you talk. And I know my listeners love it. So thank you for being authentic in that way. How did you meet your husband? I know you said he was a military, but you were high school, but you weren't together, but then you got together later.
Yes. Okay. So this is just fantastic. So we were in personal finance class together in high school, and we sat catty corner from each other. And he was in a different class later in the day that I was really, really close with the teacher. Still am. We still are really, really close with the teacher. But I would always go to her room. So I was in, that was like my work release period, because I worked for Shell Oil in high school. And so I would go visit her. I loved him way before he ever would let me love him. But we laugh about it quite often, that I loved him then. And I just don't know why it took him so long to realize that, like, we are supposed to be together, like peanut butter and jelly. Like, we are supposed to be together.
Right.
What do you not realize about this situation? Like, we are supposed to be together.
We're a little bit slow. We're a little slow.
Well, so we ended up graduating, going our separate ways. He went in the Marine Corps, and Facebook is what brought us back together.
There we go.
Yes. Facebook. And so we reconnected on Facebook, and he loves to tell this story. My best friend and I, she was working in for the Mobile congressman at the time, and she and I just planned this random trip to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So that we would be co-located for a holiday. And he picked us up from the airport, and literally the rest is history.
How cool is that? I got to show this. I usually just do the audio for these things, but I got to get the video of this one out there because you're so happy talking about it. And that's your husband. I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I will say I've watched you on social media and from afar. I didn't say stalked. I said watched. But you are genuinely very, very happy person. It seems like, anyway, like the appearance, like right now, your smile is about to bust through the screen. I love it. Tell me, before we get it too deep into real estate and business, tell me about being a mom in the middle of all this. I had someone on my show a few weeks ago that shared this term with me called mompreneur. I should introduce you to her because she's got a podcast on mompreneurism, and it's really, really fascinating to me. But here you are. You mentioned your son was one when you were going through all this transition. Tell me about how old your son is now and what's it like being a mom and all that.
Absolutely. So our son is 8 now.
Okay. What's his name?
His name is Andrew.
Okay.
So we are right in the thick of little boydom.
Yes.
There's dirt and all the things that come with little boys.
Right.
So I am probably a mompreneur.
Yes. Yes.
I have an office full of mompreneurs.
Yes, you do.
I have so much respect for stay-at-home moms. And one of the reasons why I have so much respect for it is I could never do it.
Right.
Like, I don't know how y'all do it. So you got mad props from the mompreneur because you guys are doing something that I absolutely could not do. So rock on, my friends. So our son we had a catastrophic event during pregnancy. So he was born very, very early, and we spent many, many weeks in the NICU in Wilmington, and he was diagnosed at 18 months with a brain injury. So he has cerebral palsy.
Okay.
And I was about 6 months into my real estate career when he received the diagnosis, and I said, you know what? I can't do this. I've got to go home. I've got to go take care of him.
Yeah.
And through these 8 years, my mom journey has been full of things that we never dreamed that we would ever have to face. Right. And so it's been really interesting to find, as you say, happiness in a journey that has been so difficult. And we've gone, he's amazing. He's good now. He does have some, the trained eye can recognize that he has CP. But the reason that he is doing so well is because we sought so much early intervention, and we literally traveled the United States. There was nowhere I would not go. We've traveled the United States for the best care that we could possibly get for him. And he had a life-changing surgery at 3. And so after that surgery, we taught him to walk again. He had a couple more surgeries after that. And he fought. He's a fighter. And actually, funny, his name is Andrew Caden, which means strong warrior. And if I had known that I was going to name that child Strong Warrior and what I was going to get, I might would have picked a different name. But he certainly has lived up to his name, his nomenclature, and he's a rock star. He's an absolute rock star.
Yeah. So this is when we do this podcast, Kelli, I want to say I appreciate so much. I mean, you don't know us, right? And you're just taking the mask off, and I love that about you. This is where, in my opinion, where people connect at a level that is different than just, hey, we're in real estate. Hey, let's do this fun thing together. Let's talk about the bumps and bruises. I remember the first time I remember hearing you tell this story about Andrew, and I was absolutely knocked off of my stilts because you come across as, I have everything is perfect in my life. And then you peel back the onion, and we all have these things, right? But you have a major thing. And I want to share, I want to see if you remember this. I just saw a video of you not too long ago, and I wanted you to see if you could replay it for me in your mind, of you talking about when you found out that you had to fight for Andrew. I remember you saying in this video, like, things like, there was not anything I wouldn't do for him. Do you remember that time in your life when you and your husband must have looked at each other and gone, okay, you didn't have, it's not like you had an option, but tell me a little bit about that, because I know that must have been difficult.
I do love my husband more than anything else. I mean, just truly adore him. And also, it's important to note at this time in our life, my husband was at a Marine Corps unit that deployed every 3 cycles. So he would be gone. He would leave for 6 months, be home for 6 months, work up for 6 months, and then leave again for 6 months. So he was gone 6 months out of every 18.
Okay.
So I had all the support in the world, but a lot of it I did on my own. So he trusted me to do the research, do the homework, gather up all the facts, and then present what I believe to be the best solution, right?
Wow.
So I'm a gut girl. I mean, if my gut, if there is not a doubt in my mind that this is the right thing to do, we're moving, we're going, this is what, I don't have a single reservation whatsoever. I am going to move forward.
Yeah.
So I remember we were moving into a new house, and ironically enough, the granite installers had broken a piece of the granite, and I did not have a kitchen sink. So we had to go out. Bummer, I know. But I remember it raining that day, just pouring down rain. And we sat at this sushi restaurant in Wilmington for an hour and a half. And there was no good reason. This place isn't that great. There's no good reason for us to be sitting there for an hour and a half.
Right.
But I was on this crazy internet journey of a blog. And the blog was talking about a surgery that would change the life of this particular lady was an adult, but an adult and children with cerebral palsy.
Okay.
And I went from this blog to the next one, to this, and then all of a sudden I am deep into the internet. I am looking at, and the surgeon's name is Dr. T.S. Park at the St. Louis Children's Hospital. And he is the most amazing neurosurgeon that God ever put on this side of heaven, if you ask me. He's absolutely incredible. But I remember looking up at my husband on this day, this night at this restaurant. It was pouring down rain.
Right.
And I looked at him and I said, I'm taking him to St. Louis. And he just looks at me like, oh, okay. What's in St. Louis? Okay. What? I don't understand the big deal. What is in St. Louis? And I just knew, my heart knew that was where we were supposed to be. That was where we were supposed to go. And we traveled a lot. And my dad actually traveled with us because my husband was, of course, here, there, and everywhere. My dad traveled so much with us. He was our travel buddy. We tease and say he sold as many houses as I did, working my iPhone in the passenger seat, selling houses, typing, just doing what he needed to do to get the houses for me to dictate what he needed to write while I drove across the country to St. Louis. But it was very difficult. And in that same talk, I talked about having sold that year, the year he had spinal surgery, I sold 74 houses as an individual agent. And what it took to sell those houses and to take care of that baby was a different level of commitment.
Yeah.
It was absolutely a different level of commitment.
And tell me, Kelli, why, the thing that pops in my mind right now is, I know why you did all that for your son, right? I have children and I've never been where you are, but I know what a parent's love is, right? But why work so hard? Why did you do that level of business? What was driving you?
Well, in full transparency, the expense.
Okay.
Of having to, it was incredibly expensive.
Okay.
And we have great insurance. We have super great insurance. So our insurance never denied anything. However, they did not cover travel. And so we actually moved to St. Louis for 7 weeks. And so, any good real estate agent will tell you if you abandon your business for 7 weeks, what that's going to look like. So you had to work really, really hard on the front end. And that is the tangible monetary reason that I did it. But the truth of the matter was it was my escape.
Yeah.
Work was my escape. It was how I dealt with it. Like, I mean, you are talking about teaching your child how to walk again. We taught him to walk 3 times. You're watching your child go through things that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. And work was my escape. My people were my escape. It was how I took my mind off of the fact that we were in the PICU. It's how it took my mind off of the travel, the anxiety, I could have worried about all these things, but I didn't worry about all these things. I worried about my people. And it gave me something else to fixate on other than our situation.
Yes. Well, thank you for telling us that story. I mean, there's so much that people can relate to. I admire your tenacity. Like when I heard you on that video and when I hear your voice now, you say to yourself, I would do the same thing, but God bless you for your tenacity and your fight for your son. And I know it was natural because you're his mom, but not everybody's you. And I appreciate that about you very much. So thank you for sharing that with us. And I really hope if somebody can connect to it, maybe somebody will learn something from today. Maybe somebody will take their kid or their parent or their adult to St. Louis and let them see that doctor. We'll put that doctor's information in the show notes. So if there's a connection, maybe there's a connection. If you live or own property along the coast of South Carolina, you probably need insurance. We Insure Advocates is a locally owned independent agency with industry-leading service support. Our team of customer-centric agents can explain your coverage options and help you craft an insurance program that fits your needs and budget. Data-driven for better value, people-led for better service. That's the difference of we. For all of your property insurance needs, please find us at weinsureadvocates.com or call us at 843-491-6990. All right, so here you are. I mean, you've taken this leap of faith to get into real estate after having a job for a long time. Like you're working a job.
A very lucrative job.
Yeah,
a very, very well-paying job.
Yeah, I see that. And tell us the market that you're in now in real estate. You're from Alabama, but where do you live now? And tell me about your brokerage now.
Sure, absolutely. So we live in Jacksonville, North Carolina, home of Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune and Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point. So my brokerage is right smack dab in the middle of town. I own Anchor Real Estate. We are an independent brokerage, and I cannot imagine doing anything else. I have the most amazing sales team. They are absolutely wonderful. As my husband points out to me, I get to go to work with my friends every day.
Cool.
Every single day.
Just a few days ago, I saw you talked about mompreneurs. I think I remember seeing a little girl sitting in a chair in one of your office meetings.
Yes.
Like somebody's daughter. So you're very family.
We are very kid-friendly office. Yes, very, very kid-friendly office. Let me just tell you, all the couches open up and there are puzzles and colors and blocks and all sorts of things that are in the storage units. I love, love, love working moms. So I have an office full of the most amazing working moms you'll ever meet. And I do have a couple of male agents, and they love us and they think that we're all crazy and they wouldn't have it any other way. They enjoy the madness as well. But in our office, you're never going to know whose kids you're going to run into. We're hiding them in meeting rooms, and there are TVs in places that have Disney Plus and Netflix, and you might be negotiating a contract in one room and Bluey is playing in the other. Like, that's just how we roll. And I make no apology for it. Like, that it is what it is. It's how we roll.
That's funny. And you mentioned male agents. Didn't I see somewhere where you had a male agent that had left that just came back? Was that you?
Yes.
Isn't that a great story to celebrate? Doesn't that make you feel good when that happens?
We're very, very excited to have him back.
That's awesome.
We very much are. We laugh because Nelson is the keeper of all the things. He's the critter getter. He's the carrier of the heavy things. Like, I mean, we just absolutely love having Nelson, and I think that Nelson doesn't mind having. He's got a couple of biological sisters, but he's got a whole lot of real estate sisters, and I think he might enjoy it.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So you were an individual agent, right, for a little while in your business. You said you've been doing this 7 years, and you've had your brokerage for 2, right? Is that what you said? So what inspired you? It sounds like you've been in a culture in your work life of, hey, let's start something. So what inspired you to go from being an individual agent to starting your own thing?
So I've done it all. That's the thing about me. I can give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about everything, because I started my career as an individual agent. I joined a team. I became the top producer on the team, left the team and went back as an individual agent, and then we opened Anchor.
Okay.
So what made us start Anchor is the question. And the truth of the matter was I had exited the team and rebuilt my business as an individual agent at a franchise brokerage. And we knew that we needed help because the business had grown so much that I could no longer sustain the amount of transactions that were literally falling into our lap. And as we looked around, we were like, this probably isn't the place. As much as I loved them and loved what they did for us while we were fighting the good fight with Andrew, they were wonderful to me. It probably wasn't the place.
Right.
And as we looked around, we were like, where are we going? And there wasn't a place that made sense for us to try to integrate our vision into somebody else's brokerage.
Right.
And we decided that we were going to start our own brokerage. And we sat with the vision. We sat with a piece of paper and a pencil, and we said, what do we want it to look like? And we said things like, we value working moms.
Right.
We value our clients. We value integrity.
Right.
We're always going to do the right thing.
Right.
These are things that my husband and I sat around and said, okay, if we're going to do this, what's it going to look like? The culture was crafted up front. It's not by accident. It was 100% well crafted at our dinner table. And we said, if we're going to go and do this, what's it going to look like when we get there? Okay. And we created a place that I would want to work as a mom.
Yeah.
As a mom. Where do I want to be? What do I need in order to be supported? I need an office that's kid friendly. I need an office that has got books and toys and Netflix on a TV. I need a place where I'm surrounded by other moms who are somewhat similarly situated as I am. And I'm not in the real estate business. I'm in the people business. And so the funny thing is my clients need the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
My clients need a place where they're coming in with their kids. A lot of times they're coming in with their U-Haul. Their kids have traveled all over the country over the last week. And they just quite honestly need some goldfish in a juice box and to breathe for a minute.
Yes.
And we're always there with the goldfish in the juice box, ready to look at the house, ready to connect them with whoever we need, whoever they need to make that transition. I'm not in the real estate business. I'm in the people business.
Yeah, I love that. I was going to ask you, when you say we decided, it's you and your husband, right? You guys you said that you're sitting at the table making this. And did you bring Did you bring a team to start with at Anchor when you came over? It was just you, and then you built it?
No, so it was a wing and a prayer, and maybe maybe you can do this. Maybe we can do this now.
Right.
So I built the team. But the interesting thing is that I didn't do what a lot of people do, in that they started and then they immediately start recruiting everybody to join them.
Right. Okay.
I built the foundation, and then we started recruiting. It was really more like 6 to 9 months in before we started building our team.
Okay. And how many people are there? How many people are there today?
There are 20 agents, and there are 4 full-time staff members. And one of them is so we have a full-service property management company as well. So that includes my property management team. Good
gracious! Congratulations. You're 2 years in. The market was fine, but that's still a lot of growth in 2 years. And you said you're on target. Your team set a goal for number of transactions for next year.
Yes, so their stake in the ground for next year is 500. So now we've said it publicly. So all right, team, I know you're going to hear this.
I think you know what we talk a lot about per agent production where we are in our space, and math comes pretty easy to me. That's like 22 transactions per person. So that's pretty strong.
So we are this is minus my production.
Oh, okay.
We're about 21 deals per person productivity.
That's incredible. That's great. That shows good for you. I mean, that you've built an incredible organization. And the cool thing is, like you said, the production is secondary.
Yes.
To the changes in the lives and the relationships. That's what radiates from Anchor Realty. When I look Anchor Real Estate, when I look at you guys from a distance, even in the brief time that I've known you, it screams people. So good for you that you've built a brokerage that has your fingerprint on it. That's not easy to do, because everybody wants to put their fingerprint on stuff. And I know you are always in the right room. You're coached. You are teachable, accountable, all those things. And sometimes it's easy to lose your identity and all of that, but you haven't. And I'm proud of you for that. Good. Congratulations. I love it when I meet someone that I celebrate their success. Like, nothing makes me happier to see you and Andrew and your husband on vacation, or celebrating it, moving to a new home, or having 750 transactions next year, if that's what you want, the year after that, or whatever. So thank you for sharing that story. I think I know the answer to this next question. And gosh, we could talk for an hour about the market and what you think's happening and all that, but I'm kind of over that in a way. Tell me what your superpower is. If
oh my goodness,
I asked your friends or your husband, what is it that Kelli brings to the table?
Normally say focus.
Okay.
But I think today that I might say agility.
Okay.
So I have the ability to be who I need to be in the moment that I need to be that person. So, and I actually believe that is the most important thing to recognize and realize as a mom. So you need to show up and be whoever it is that you're supposed to be in the moment that you're supposed to be it. So, and I've said this before, but if I go to a listing appointment, I'm the listing agent in that moment. If I'm giving a team meeting, I'm the team lead in that moment. The important thing is that when I'm at doctor, or I'm at therapy, or I'm in a school meeting, or I'm mom in that moment, like I am focused on who I need to be and whatever outcome that we need to have at that moment. And so that's why I typically say focus. But with the shifting market and all of the changes that we need to make in order to keep up and be on the forefront of the market, I would say agility. I have creative mind, I wouldn't say so much that I'm a visionary, but I also would not say that I'm an operator. So I fall somewhere in the middle. I can be here and be effective, and I can move and be over there and be effective. Like whatever it is that I need to do at the time, I can do. So we can, right now we're in the mortgage space. So we just opened a mortgage company. And so my sales team is running effectively over there, and they're doing a wonderful job. And it allows me to be agile and go over here and create the mortgage space, be in the mortgage space, create the mortgage company, and be able to provide them with different and better options while still maintaining a sales team. And it doesn't matter if it's mortgage or property management. I have the ability to move between segments of our business and do it very, very effectively.
Yeah.
And so agility.
I love that. I've asked 18 people now that question, and I've never had agility as an answer. And I love that. I think I've heard the word pivot ad nauseum. I've heard the word, multitasking, but agility is a great one. And you said it earlier in our talk that when things are like status quo, you're kind of over that. Like you like it when it's changing, shifting. Yes. And that makes sense. You're like a cat on a tin roof. Like you got to be moving and shaking. I love that agility. So I always ask three questions. That one, and I always ask the second question. I always ask is, what book might you have read, whether it's personal, professional, in the last many months, years, whatever, that might help our listeners? You got one?
Yes, 100%. Because right now, I actually made a Facebook post about this the other day. Dan Sullivan's book, Who Not How.
Okay.
Because people ask the question, how? You're asking the wrong question.
Okay.
Ask the vision. Find the people who gravitate towards the vision. If they don't gravitate towards the vision, they're not your people.
Right.
Very simply, they're not your people. And so a lot of times people will get hung up in well, how are we going to do it? I don't want to ask the question, how are we going to do it? I want to ask the question, who are we going to attract, or who are we going to hire to lead this charge? Who can catch the vision and then go make it happen?
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in the minutia. Go find the right people to carry the torch of vision.
Yeah.
And so who, not how.
I love that. I haven't thought about that before, but if you get enough of the right who's, you end up with the right how. You don't have to tell them how. That's just who they are. Their nature does the how. I love that. That's you and I could probably talk a long time. I nerd out about stuff like that. So thank you for sharing that. I'll probably get that book very soon. I don't read it though. I listen in my car all the time. So thanks for sharing that one. Last question I'll ask you, even though it is breaking my heart not to go another hour with you because you are fun to talk to. Tell me, what is it? Like you were just talking about agility. Agility is tiring. Agility can drain a human. You have an enormous amount of energy. I can see it. But what is it that you do we call it Rise Up. That's the name of the podcast. What is it that you do on a daily basis to get above the minutia and get above the normal hubbub of the day?
Yes. So
how do you do it?
I'm going to give you the status quo answer that you probably hear from a lot of us.
Maybe not. You never know.
I'm an early morning gym goer.
Love it.
And I will tell you, I actually have had bilateral foot surgery this fall. And I had the first one done in August, and I had the second one done just a few weeks ago. So I've not been able to be in the gym for many months. And I can definitely attest to the amount of mental clarity that comes with picking up the heavy things and putting them over there. And that's when I've hired a personal trainer, our business tripled. And
Wow.
so
Wow.
I have to be in the gym. I have to be in the gym.
I love it. This is my favorite Kelli Salter quote for today is lifting the heavy things and putting them over there.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's not weightlifting. It's just moving heavy stuff around, right?
We just move the weights around.
That's cool. So tell my guests real quickly. I'm going to put your information in the show notes, but what's the best place? Spell your name for me and then tell me the best place they can find you.
Yes. So my name is Kelli, Kelli, Salter, Salter. And best place is Facebook. You can also catch us on Instagram at Anchor Real Estate NC. And but Facebook is my chosen medium. It's what we grew up on. It's really where I spend a lot of my time.
Yes. Well, Kelli, I am a better person just for talking to you for 30 minutes. Here's the neat thing. I'll listen to this episode next week or whenever it comes out in my car, and I'll learn something from you again. And I love that. And you have so much positive energy, and you haven't, and I know we didn't even get into half your story, right? You haven't just been in a garden of roses your whole life where it would just be expected that you would be like you are. So kudos to you for being agile and for being moving heavy stuff around and just being a cool person. I can't wait to get to know you better. And I know my listeners feel the same way. So thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Tad.
Talk to you soon, Rise Up Nation. Thanks for being here. And we will see you again really very soon.
Well, hey, that's a wrap, folks. Thank you so much for listening to Rise Up in Real Estate. If you liked hanging out with us today, please find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Rise Up in Real Estate. Also, follow us right now on your favorite podcast host to hear more episodes. We really appreciate you spending some of your time with us. And until next time, let's do each other a favor and all help each other rise up.